Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be taking a look at AI in medicine.
Woo, very cool.
Yeah, and specifically a new benchmark that's come out called MedXpertQA.
Okay.
And this is designed to test if AI can really think like a doctor.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we're going to break down exactly how they did that and what they found, and we're going to be looking at excerpts from the research paper.
Okay.
MedXpertQA, benchmarking expert-level medical reasoning and understanding. So,
Sketchy title.
yeah, buckle up. This is a fascinating one.
It is. There's so much buzz about AI, diagnosing diseases and everything these days.
Right.
But this research really gets into like the nitty-gritty of how challenging that is, actually is.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get into it. What's the problem that MedXpertQA is trying to address?
Well, current AI models are kind of like med students who aced all the textbook quizzes. They're great at absorbing basic medical knowledge.
Okay.
But when it comes to complex medical reasoning, the
Right.
kind of, reasoning that doctors use in real life clinical scenarios,
Yeah.
they struggle.
Right.
Traditional AI benchmarks haven't been capturing that complexity.
So they're testing a chef's skills by having them microwave a frozen dinner.
Exactly.
Doesn't quite cut it.
Exactly. That's where MedXpertQA comes in.
Okay.
It's designed to be super tough, like think board exam level difficulty.
Wow.
It covers 17 medical specialties, 11 body systems, and it uses a variety of medical data, so not just text,
Okay.
but also images like x-rays and scans, even patient records and lab results.
They really threw everything at them.
Yeah, they did.
But didn't you say there was a multimodal component to this as well?
Right. MedXpertQA is particularly interesting because it goes beyond simple image captioning.
Okay.
So imagine showing an AI an x-ray along with a patient's medical history, symptoms, and lab results,
Uh-huh.
and then asking a really challenging diagnostic question, just like in a medical exam.
Right.
It has to put it all together.
So it's not just describing what it sees, but actually making a
Sure.
diagnosis based on all that
Yeah.
information.
Yes.
That's a huge step up in difficulty. How did they even come up with questions challenging enough for this?
They didn't mess around. They used questions from real high-stakes medical exams, like the USMLE and COMLEX,
Okay.
which are used for medical licensing in the United States.
Right.
They even included questions from specialty board exams,
Oh, yeah.
which are even more specialized and difficult.
Oh, wow.
And to top it off, they added those image-rich challenges that you might see in, prestigious medical journals.
Wow. Sounds like they went all out.
They did.
But with all those questions coming from different sources, how did they choose which ones were truly the toughest for AI?
They used a super clever multi-step filtering process.
Okay.
So first, they had various AI models attempt to answer the questions.
Uh-huh.
If a basic AI could consistently answer a question correctly, they knew it was too easy and tossed it out.
So the AI helped weed out the easier questions.
Right.
What happened next?
That's where the human experts came in. They used something called the Breyer score, which measures how accurate a prediction is
Okay.
to gauge the difficulty of questions based on how human test takers performed on them.
Gotcha.
So this means the researchers were able to pinpoint the questions that really stumped human doctors,
Oh, that's good.
ensuring the AI was facing a truly challenging test.
I like that.
And they even made sure to select questions across different difficulty levels.
So it sounds like they really wanted to make sure the AI couldn't just rely on memorizing answers.
Exactly. They were very concerned about data leakage,
Okay.
which is when the AI might have already encountered similar questions during its training.
Right, right.
To address this, they used advanced language models like GPT-4o and Claude to rephrase the questions and create additional incorrect answer choices.
So they're using AI strengths against itself.
Exactly.
That's really clever, but they didn't just trust the AI to rephrase everything perfectly.
Right. Of course not. Human medical experts meticulously checked the rephrased questions and new answer choices, ensuring they were accurate, clear, and clinically relevant.
So it was a triple check system.
Yes.
AI experts,
Yes.
statistical filtering, and the final stamp of approval from human medical professionals. That's reassuring.
Yes. Very thorough.
But after all that meticulous design and filtering, the big question is, how did these AI hotshots actually perform on MedXpertQA?
Right. The results are pretty fascinating.
Yeah, let's hear it.
We'll get into the specifics of those results and what they mean next.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, the results are in, and it's safe to say that AI still has some work to do before it can replace your doctor.
Okay.
Tables 3 and 4 in the paper lay it all out, and it's really fascinating to see where the AI shines and where it stumbles.
Okay, let's dive into those tables then. What kind of AI models were they testing?
They tested a range of leading large language models, or LLMs,
Okay.
and large multimodal models, or LMMs.
Okay.
So these are the cutting-edge AIs, making waves in all sorts of fields, like your ChatGPTs and Google's Gemini.
Right.
They even tested some of the newer inference time-scaled models.
Inference time-scaled models. That sounds intriguing.
Yeah, they're models that have been kind of fine-tuned to be even better at reasoning and problem-solving.
Okay.
You can think of it as giving the AI extra focus during its thinking process,
Right.
allowing it to make smarter connections between the medical information it's given.
So like AI brain training.
Exactly.
I'm curious, how did these AI all-stars fare against MedXpertQA? Were they able to live up to the hype?
Well, even the top performers like GPT-4o still showed limited overall performance, particularly on those complex reasoning tasks.
Okay.
And this is significant because GPT-4o is considered one of the most advanced AI models out there. So it just goes to show that even the best AI still has room to grow when it comes to complex medical reasoning.
So even the AI valedictorian couldn't quite ace the expert-level medical exam.
Right.
What about when you break down the results by question type?
Things get even more interesting there. For example, in MedXpertQA texts, the AI models generally did better on questions that were classified as understanding, which focused more on basic medical knowledge.
Okay.
But the reasoning questions,
Right.
which required, multi-step thinking and connecting different pieces of information, really tripped them up.
It's like they crammed for the exam but forgot to actually understand the material.
Exactly. They could memorize the ingredients but couldn't quite master the recipe.
Yeah.
But there were some glimmers of hope,
Okay.
particularly with that inference time scaling technique we talked about.
Uh-huh.
When they compared models with and without it, they saw a noticeable improvement in performance,
Okay.
especially on those tough reasoning questions.
That's really promising.
Yeah.
So even without being fed more medical data, the AI could get better at reasoning just by tweaking its training.
Exactly.
That's really cool. But let's shift gears and talk about those image-based challenges. How did the AIs handle MedXpertQA MM?
That's where things get even trickier.
Okay.
Remember, it's not just about describing what they see in the images.
Right.
They have to interpret them within a broader medical context. And as you might expect, performance on MedXpertQA MM was generally lower than on MedXpertQA text.
Yeah, that makes sense. Adding those images would make it that much harder.
Right. The AI had to contend with both, understanding the medical information and accurately interpreting potentially complex visuals.
Were there any standout performers in the multimodal arena?
Interestingly, Gemini 2.0 Flash,
Okay.
which is a newer multimodal model from Google,
Okay.
showed quite impressive performance on MedXpertQA MM.
Interesting.
It actually outperformed some of the other vanilla LMMs, highlighting its strength in handling visual tasks.
So it suggests that certain AI models might be better suited for different aspects of medical reasoning.
Right, like maybe an AI might not be ready to be a general practitioner,
Yeah.
but maybe it could excel as a specialized consultant in certain areas.
That's an important takeaway. Is there anything else that jumped out at you from the findings?
Well, the disparities in AI performance across different body systems were really striking. For example, the AI seemed to do quite well on questions related to the integumentary system, so, your skin, hair, and nails.
Okay.
But the AI models showed much weaker performance on questions related to more complex systems,
Okay.
like the cardiovascular system.
So AI dermatologists before AI cardiologists.
Right.
That raises some interesting questions. Do you think certain medical specialties lend themselves better to current AI capabilities than others?
That's a fascinating question, and this research definitely suggests it's worth exploring further.
Yeah.
The fact that we see these differences in performance highlights the importance of analyzing not just overall performance,
Right.
but also how AI fares across different medical domains.
It's like deciding where to allocate resources to maximize AI's benefit to patients.
Right.
If we know AI is better at diagnosing skin conditions than heart conditions right now, does it make sense to focus development efforts in those areas where it already shows promise?
It's a complex issue with no easy answers. But these are exactly the kinds of questions this research is prompting us to ask.
Yeah, for sure.
And those are just a few of the highlights from the findings.
Okay.
Overall, MedXpertQA provides a much-needed reality check on the current state of AI in medicine.
It definitely paints a more nuanced picture than some of the headlines we see.
I agree.
But amidst the challenges, there are clearly some very promising developments as well.
Absolutely. Even though AI isn't ready to replace your doctor just yet, the research highlights some really exciting areas of progress,
Okay.
particularly in reasoning abilities.
Huh.
And that's crucial because reasoning is at the heart of expert medical diagnosis and treatment.
So we're seeing the early stages of AI evolving from a medical student who can ace those multiple choice quizzes to a seasoned clinician who can tackle those complex patient cases.
Precisely. And the fact that researchers are already developing techniques like inference timescaling to enhance AI reasoning skills is incredibly promising.
That reminds me, before we wrap up, we should touch on data leakage again.
Yeah.
Did the researchers take any steps to make sure the AI wasn't cheating during the benchmark?
Yeah, they did. That was a big focus of their process. Remember how they used AI to rephrase questions and generate new answer choices?
Yeah.
Well, they also took steps to ensure that the questions used in the benchmark weren't too similar to anything the AI might have seen before.
Okay.
They used specific techniques to compare the questions and weed out any that were too close based on both their meaning and their wording.
So they were really trying to make sure the AI couldn't just rely on recognizing familiar patterns.
Exactly. It was all about testing true understanding and reasoning ability, not just memorization.
That's really reassuring. It sounds like they went to great lengths to make MedXpertQA a robust and reliable benchmark.
Yeah.
What's the key takeaway for our listeners? What should they be thinking about after this deep dive?
I think the biggest takeaway is that AI has incredible potential in medicine, but it's still early days. We need to be realistic about its current capabilities and focus on developing AI that can truly think like a doctor, not just mimic one.
I completely agree, and this research is an important step in that direction.
Yeah.
It provides a much-needed benchmark for measuring progress and identifying areas where we need to focus our efforts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it definitely feels like we're at this really pivotal moment.
Yeah.
With medical AI, like we're starting to see its limitations, but also like its huge potential.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes this research so important. It's not just about, testing the AI.
Right.
It's about figuring out where we need to go from here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what are some of the key questions this research raises,
Yeah.
about the future of AI in healthcare?
Well, for one, what specific types of reasoning are most challenging for AI in the medical domain?
Yeah.
Is it about weighing different possibilities or dealing with uncertainty or connecting seemingly like disparate pieces of information?
Right.
All of these are really crucial aspects of clinical decision making.
It makes you wonder what kind of breakthroughs might help AI overcome those hurdles.
Yeah.
Could we develop new training methods specifically designed to enhance those medical reasoning skills?
That's a great question. Perhaps we need to shift our focus from simply feeding the AI more medical data to actually teaching it how to think more like a doctor.
Or could we create like these hybrid systems where AI assists human doctors
Yeah.
by handling simpler tasks while leaving the complex decision-making to humans?
That's another promising avenue.
Yeah.
It's all about figuring out how to blend AI's strengths with human expertise
Right.
to create this like really powerful healthcare team.
And we also can't ignore those disparities that we talked about earlier. The differences in AI performance across different body systems. That raises some interesting questions about, how we develop and deploy medical AI moving forward.
It really does. Should we focus on areas where AI already shows promise, like dermatology,
Right.
and try to get those applications into clinical practice sooner? Or should we prioritize research on the more challenging specialties, where AI could potentially have like the greatest impact, like cardiology?
It's like deciding where to invest our resources to maximize the benefit to patients.
Right. And there are ethical considerations, too.
Absolutely.
This research really underscores that we need to be having these conversations now,
Right.
as we're laying the groundwork for the future of AI in healthcare.
This has been a truly fascinating deep dive. I think it's clear that MedXpertQA is really just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to exploring the potential of AI in medicine.
It definitely is, and I think this research has given us a much clearer picture of both the challenges and the opportunities that lie ahead.
It's been a real eye-opener. If any of our listeners want to explore this topic further, we've linked the full research paper in the show notes.
It's definitely worth a read, and we'd love to hear your thoughts as well. What are your hopes and concerns about the future of AI in healthcare?
Yeah.
Join the conversation on our social media channels.
Until next time, keep diving deep.